Welcome to Black Girl Say Something, where this black girl has something to say. And I guess I'll just use this episode to do kind of like a summer recap because a Facebook memory prompted me to remember that this time last year I posted a status where I was like, leave some message for a girl going to high school. And so I'm going to just use this episode to hype my daughter up. But I'll also be sure to post the episode that was linked to that I had recorded like a special message to her, because the thing about the thing is I love that girl so much, and I am just so happy to see all of the things that she accomplished just in her first year of high school. Just so you get an understanding of how I know how to disconnect myself from helping her make goals, is I honestly and intentionally have conversations with her, candid conversations really, that are not so serious in nature where I am forcing her to figure out what her goals should be. But the ideal way that I do it, and this is what works for me, we've been both in therapy together and separately. We've had some hills to climb and things like that. And so we've come to the common ground of I have to be okay with allowing her the opportunity to make mistakes, right? And I think most parents don't want their kids to make the same mistakes, so they kind of fearmonger their kids into making plans and making goals and things like that. So for me, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum where it's like, whatever it is you want to do, you can do. Kind of how she ended up being a gymnast was never something I did. I never even envisioned her doing anything of that nature because I never did. I wasn't athletically inclined. I wasn't in any sports or anything. So, so with that being said, I want to use this post to just kind of report how the first year of high school went. Honestly, because I utilized all the tools and resources, medical tools and resources to help her get to where she needs to be, meeting with school officials and things like that so that we could turn those opportunities for improvement into successes. We did that, and she ended the school year with all A's, straight A's. To be quite honest with you, talking about, some of the obstacles that she has faced throughout her school journey started from when she was way younger. So the biggest part for me was knowing that we had to get cross this bridge once she got to high school was very pivotal for me, because I know high school is kind of like that precursor into what you want to do after you graduate for high school. I'm very much prior preparation prevents poor performance. Y'all hear me say that all the time. um, Ever since she turned 13, we kind of been on the path. She worked with my business before business got slow. She worked with me as an administrative assistant where she had to go through the interview. We bought some clothes for interviews and things like that. And, this year she got exposed to going to a job fair. She got certified to become a lifeguard. She went through interviews and application processes. And so really seeing how real world actually works in that way, and she had that prior experience from working with me. She sat down with me and did her resume, and has a really extensive resume for her to only be in the ninth grade. But again, I'm a mama that really pours into my children. I realized that I was never poured into as a child, and so I pour into my children, not just in the materialistic way, but in the social, emotional, um mental way. And so exposing them to all of the different things. The summer has been spent, she's been working at the library. And I made a joke and I was like, I say books before boys, but now she work at a library, so she really hitting them books, right? And so she's had the opportunity to do that. She's been working at the library. She hosted a writing series in the art literacy installment that they had. So I hosted one installment, and because some of the artists had backed out, I think last minute, the volunteer coordinator requested that she host it, so she did that. And then also too, my son, he's not without, getting a little light shed on him as well, and they have their lights in their different ways, but he's been attending Apple camps, learning about making, content, because that's what he wants to be as a YouTuber. So, my kids say they want to do things, and I'm going to help them do the things. I think about my childhood in that way where it was like I used to talk about my love for dance and things like that, and people would say she gonna be a ballerina one day, but nobody ever put me in ballet classes. I used to walk on my tiptoes and, really show that skill, but nobody ever said, "Hey, she's gonna be a ballerina one day. Let me expose her to a ballet class if she even likes that." So I never really got those opportunities. I heard a lot of things spoken over me. Oh, she's gonna be a lawyer one day. But nobody ever like was like, "Hey, did you ever think about signing up for debate or, putting me into a program where I could learn more about laws and politics and history?" Like that was never a thing. And me being in the health sciences and the medicines was all of my own doing and my own research. Again, if I had to think back to the reality of like what it was that I could have done, again, no one around me was doing the thing, so I didn't have anything to kind of measure it by. And for my children, I often tell them it's going to be the same for them. They don't have anything to measure their successes or failures by, which is good because I often tell them comparison is the thief. And so just try it, make the mistakes, do it. And as a parent, I tend to not feel about what if it doesn't work out for them because I don't want to impose my fears onto their hopes and dreams. So yeah, the girl did do her first year of high school with major successes, and I'm so proud of her for that. But then I want to read this. So it says, use this post to leave a positive advice for a girl going to high school. And 1 year later, I'm proud to report she's completed her first year of high school, became a lifeguard, works at a research library, and got straight A's. And now she's on to the 10th grade. And, one of my old high school teachers, high school art teachers, she commented and said, "You've done a good job leading by example with how hard you work with your career." And, I I get teary-eyed because the struggle is so real these days. And I didn't want to use that episode to really shed any light on that, but just shed the brightest of light over my children and their successes and their triumphs and their amazing capabilities and their uh how they're excelling and being excellent in their very own way. So if something was said that resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to our Patreon, subscribe on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on TikTok, and interact with all of the amazing links in this episode. In another episode, I'm going to tell y'all what I had me and my family do this past week. I'll probably share that on the next episode because I don't want to get too long winded because I'm like overwhelmed with emotions right now. But anywho, until next time, remember, because this Black Girl has something to say, you can tune into Black Girl Say Something every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're being added to other podcast platforms weekly. Until next time.